10th schedule, which is deal with anti-defection law. So this by animation, before we discussing about this in detail about what are the provisions under the 10th schedule, what are the fact that we should study about 10th schedule, we'll discuss after discussing about why this law was in need or why this schedule is that much significant in Indian government or Indian political system. When you take a house like this, imagine the screen which is in front of you, which is circle, and you can see a lot of boxes. It represents as a house, and you can represent all these boxes are the members. If in the case of Lok Sabha, if it is in the case of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, it will be member of parliament. If it is the case of union territory, or if it is the case of the state government, it can be the MLAs, member of legislative assembly. Anybody here from Delhi Union Territory or Pondicherry Union Territory? Anybody here from Pondicherry, or also called as Puducherry, Pondicherry or Delhi Union Territories? Then you might be familiar that it's a Delhi Union Territory. They also have, not all the Union Territories India has a legislature. Currently, Delhi and Union Territory of the Puducherry also has the legislature, but in future, the Kashmir will be having, because Kashmir, you know that after reorganization, Jammu and Kashmir was and Ladakh also recognized as a union territory. But out of that, Jammu and Kashmir will be recognizing and they will have the separate legislature, a union territory legislature will be formed soon. That's why the delimitation commission, you might be saw that in the news. Anybody in Kashmir may be familiar with that context. In future, in the another union territory that with the legislature will be coming from Jammu and Kashmir. So in this context, you know that houses, either in the state government or in the parliament, there is a house and we have a members. So there can be MP or MLA in different name. So the government will be formed by majority party, those who enjoy the trust. So majority party, you can see the different color here. You can see the different color. I also use the animation. You can see the majority party and the opposition party in red color in other side. They are in the house, and there are nominated members also. Then there are ministers also. Then there are like even the within the member, they can be given a post and offices like ministerial positions. They'll be responsible to handle with the different departments. So they called as ministers. They are also called as council of ministers apart from the chief minister. So chief minister is also part of that council of ministers. Chief minister will be there and the entire council of ministers. So ministers also sitting in that particular houses. Then you can know the coalition party, there will be the joining with the majoritarian party or ruling party, there will be coalition party. Then there will be independent nominated. We have seen that nominated members also there, nominated members also there. Nominated members, especially in Rajya Sabha, you have seen that the people from the cricket, people from the art, people from the literature, people from any other good services, they can also be nominated to the Rajya Sabha. You have seen the Sachin Tendulkar was also part of that. So like this way, any important personalities can also join to the Rajya Sabha, nominated members, they called as nominated members. So this way, we have nominated members in the house, we have independent members in the house, we have party which is representing by any particular party. It can be BJP, it can be Congress, it can be any other parties, it can be regional parties also. So they will be representing in these parties. There can be like a government can be formed by support of the different parties called as coalitions. It can be formed by a government with a coalition party. So different party will be supporting the ruling party. This way the entire government will be formed. But what happened in the case of defection is that one person is getting some benefits. It can be personal, it can be monetary benefit, it can be the ideological influence. He thinks that I want to shift my party to another party. For example, if one ruling party MLA think that, you can see a red, can you see a changes in the one box? It's coming in a red color. Yeah. If one member in the one particular house think like, I want to be joining with the Congress. If the current government, for example, you can think about it is led by BJP government. They have enjoying the majority and with the support also, and nominated members is there, independent members are also there. So you can think that one of the BJP member is thinking that I want to be a Congress, I want to join Congress. So if any member, any MP or MLA in the state legislature, if he think to want to change his party or leaving his party to join another party within the house, then that is called as defection. It affects the stability of government. it affects the strength of the government. So he can be disqualified under the provisions of anti-defection law, which is part of the 10th schedule. So there is a provisions if any member is thinking of shifting one party to another party. So there will be provision, there is a law in order to prevent that shift of one party to another party in India that deals with the 10th schedule. You can see, imagine that it is one member. If there is more member is coming, like more member also coming to shift from another party, like if everybody is become red, then there is no government, there is no stability in the government. You understood? Like there will not be any stability in government if there is no law in order to prevent a defection. So one person is shifting from one party to another party for getting money. It can be money also. So even to remember this kind of schedule, 10th schedule, you can remember this, just a currency name as 10 rupees. I'm just making a drawing here. I don't know whether it will be okay or not. You can imagine this is a 10 rupees. I'm just drawing here in a digital way. You can imagine it is as a writing here as there is no rupee signal here. Yeah, fine. Anyway, I will draw the rupee. You can imagine it is as a rupees 10. So any member of the house, if you are giving rupees 10, he is want to shift. It can be 10 crore, it can be 10 lakh. You can imagine the amount. You can imagine that in order to remember the schedule of anti-defection law, if there is a question in the future, you can have this visual memory, that is rupees 10. You can imagine the rupees 10. That is the 10th schedule. It can be 10 crore, it can be 10 lakh. Whatever the money is getting, he motivated by him and he is shifting the BJP to another party. By getting him, he's got the defection. That is the case, and which will be dealing with the anti-defection law, which deal with under this 10th schedule provision. So if you are if you are like facing difficulty in remembering the schedule, these are the techniques that you can use in order to remember, in order to study this way. Visual memory or drawing method, you can use it. So 10 rupee, you can imagine that things. Okay, you got the clarity. We'll move on to that. So mainly the image, you can see that by monetary benefit, my ideological changes, some person can be shifted to another party. So, but it affects mainly the stability of the government. Like that is why when you are representing a party and you are elected, belong to that party, and you are becoming a member of the house, because of that trust between the member of that particular party. If I belong to the Congress and I am representing Congress and I was elected by representing Congress, I should be responsible to the party and I should follow all the protocol or the mandatory of the parties in the house. Then only the trust can be built, the stability can be maintained in that house. Otherwise, the government cannot form. Government will lose the majority. This is why when parties member, there was shifting from one party to another party before like this 1985, before the act was amended. There was many cases happening in the India in 1967. You know that there was a political crisis was happened during 1967 onwards. People were changing from one party to another party. It has affected the stability of the government. In order to maintain the stability of the government, we have launched this anti-defection law. Now, I hope you have understood why this law is significant. So when there is a mains question, what is the significance of anti-defection law in India? You know, one of the points that you can write is stability of the government. Maintaining stability of the government and discouraging the legislature or MP or MLA from changing one party to another is the objective of the anti-defection law. That is why, in order to maintain the stability of any government which is formed by or elected by directly by the people, so though it is that objective, democratic objective, we have a 10th schedule. The significance of the 10th schedule, you can use it in the mains. Now, when this act was formed or when this act was amended, so another prelims question, another kind of prelims question you can expect is that which of the following, like you can see I'm writing the question here, you know that question method. Under question method, you know that question method is that when you study a particular statement, you have to imagine a question, what type of questions can be come. So when you study Anti-Defection Act, you can see the second point. Anti-Defection Act was included in the Constitution via the 52nd Amendment Act of the 1985. The questions can come, which of the following constitutional amendment added anti-defection law? This way the questions can just not writing in a proper way. Anyway, you understood how the kind of questions can come. Which of the following constitutional amendment given in the ABCD options were added into, or which of the following were added to the and dealing with anti-defection law, and which constitutional amendment added the Anti-Defection Act in India or 10th schedule. It was the 52nd Amendment, 52nd Amendment Act 1985 during Rajiv Gandhi era. During Rajiv Gandhi era, this act was added through the amendment and it is called as 10th schedule. 10th schedule. 10th schedule. This way, question we also imagine, this way you can prepare. This method is called as question method. When you prepare any content, you have to imagine a question, how the question can come. So it mainly deal with the disqualification of an elected member, which representing like directly elected by the people, and he represented the house. He represent maybe belong to a particular party and represent the people, and he is an elected member. And on the ground of an defection, in his shifting to another party, mainly to disqualify those members for discouraging them to shifting from one to another party. This act or amendment was passed. An act was came in 1985. So who will decide the disqualification? Then another thing is that we have to study. When we say the member who are shifting from one party to another party, that is a matter of defection. Then who will decide? The member will be disqualified to become an MP, disqualified to become an MLA, like that. Who will decide that matter? So the decision for deciding the disqualification of the member, the decision will be taken by presiding officer. Yeah, presiding officers include, in the case of Lok Sabha, it will be speaker. In the case of Rajya Sabha, we have chairman, and the chairman is, we know that Vice President of India will be the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Better than we can use the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. The word will be better. Gender neutral term will be chairperson rather than using chairman. Mostly we have seen in Indian political system, they are using chairman. But Vice President can also be a female also. So that is in conflicts. So it is better to use the chairperson. I hope in future also our political term will be reformed into make a gender neutral terms like chairperson. So whenever you write mains answers also, it is better to use the word gender neutral word like chairpersons. The speaker, then if it is a deputy speaker, then deputy speaker will be taking the responsibility or deciding the matter. Or if it is presided by the chairperson of that house, in case of legislative council in the state assembly, we have chairperson in that particular house. So it will be decided by chairperson. So we have presiding officer. They are called as presiding officer of the house. So they will decide the defection. But that defection can also be subject to judicial review. It can be testified by a court of law. It will be tested by a court of law. It can be by the Supreme Court. High Court will be testing that the matter which is decided by the speaker or the deputy speaker or the chairperson of that particular house. It will be decided by presiding officer, but that decision is not discretionary. It will be subject to judicial review. It can be tested by a court of law. That is the things you need to remember. This statement we can expect in the questions. Moving on to the next slide. More in detail, even though there is an anti-defection law in India and the decision in disqualification of member is decided by presiding officer, but there is no time. There is no, the law, anti-defection law does not provide any time frame within that a presiding officer has to decide a defection case. That is someone, if they are shifting one party to another party, there is no time limit, time framework that has been given to the presiding officers to decide this. So that is a controversial point here, because there is no time limit provided by the law, how much time and which within that time when this presiding officer should decide. This kind of debate is there. So there is no time limits that a speaker, that a chairperson can decide on the matter of defection case. Some cases it takes 6 months, some cases it even taken 3 years, etc. So that is again one of the critical point about anti-defection law. So when there was a mains question was asked into you, critically examine the implication of anti-defection law. This point you can use. Because how the law, the anti-defection law does not provide a time frameworks where the presiding officers has to decide the defection case. Because of this not providing a time limit in the law, it has resulted into taking a delay or long years of not taking any decision on the anti-defection. When there is no decision has been taken for the more years, there is no point in having a law which is to discourage or to prevent the defection or disqualification of member. So that is the issue. That is a criticism of the anti-defection law that you can use it in the mains answer. In prelims also, I will show you how the questions can come. So then the member who are disqualified, once any member is disqualified, for example, I am becoming a member of the parliament, MP of the parliament, representing from the Congress party. You can imagine if I am representing from the Congress party, and the government was also led by or formed by a ruling party. For example, imagine Congress is also the ruling party, and I am from a Congress party, and I am representing it, like elected from representing the Congress party. But I am thinking that I get some motivations and some monetary benefit also I am getting. I am thinking of shifting from Congress to BJP. If I am shifting one party, then under the 10th schedule, anti-defection law, it is a case will be like matter. And these cases, the presiding officer of the House can be disqualified my status of an MP in the parliament. So I cannot be standing as a member of the parliament at that house because I am disqualified to become a member now. If the speaker is decided. So what I can do is that once I am disqualified under this law, again I can go and like conduct an election. Depends upon the party which I joined. So I can represent again the political party like BJP or other party if I am shifting to any other. So by-election will be held. Through the by-election, through standing in the election, become a candidate again, representing any party, I can also come again into the house and become a member again. So this is also provided under this law. It is not preventing that you cannot be the member of any terms. You can again become, once you are disqualified, the law also support that you can be elected again from any political party and you can find a seat in the same houses. This is also a provision were dealt under the Anti-Defection law, which is dealt in the 10th Schedule Act. And also the next point is whoever is disqualified, they can again come and they can do like participate in the election, conduct the election, then again come back to the house by representing another party. Then go into more details about this. It allows also there is MPs, MLA. The same law also allows that there is no point or problem with merging with another party. For example, a group of MPs. Here we are only talking about one or two MPs. But if it's a case, and majority of the MPs and MLA were shifting from one party to another party, when any political party completely merging with the Congress party, for example, Samajwadi Party think that we are merging with the Congress party. In that cases, whoever is representing from Samajwadi Party, by merging Samajwadi Party to the Congress, that MPs, MLA are also shifting from one party to another. But if it is a merger with one party to another party, it will not be calculated as a defection. That is also allowed by a law. It is not a disqualification, which will not be considered as a defection also. When any party, I will show you image here. That will be better in order to understand. I will show you image. You can imagine there is a red party, a political party A. You can imagine there is a blue party here, political party B. Can you see the image now? Can you see the image, the box which is round and circle? Yeah, one is circle and the rectangle shapes. You can see that two parties were there. And one party, there are a lot of MPs in one side also. And here also we have a lot of parties. And both the party decided that we are having a common objective. And the main objective is to oppose the other party, the third party. So it is better to join together and make a majority and defeat the other party and form a government. If they think so, so this political party B can be merged with one another. So now the political party A and B join together and it can be called as merger. So under this law, when any party is merging with another party, it will not be considered as a defection. So it will not be considered as a defection when MP, especially a group of MP MLA joining, or the one party is completely joining with the another party by merging it. In that cases, the penalty of the defection penalty will not be there. So that is the provision deals with it under the law. Again, remember, we will also go in detail about that. You can also see that. But there is a special mention under this act. In 1985, when this act was came, the defection by 1/3 of the elected members of a political party was considered as a measure. Earlier in 1985, this act specifically said that 1/3, if the merger is 1/3 of the MP, that means 1/3 of the elected members of a political party merging with another party or moving to one party will be considered as merger. But after this is a conflict and it amended in the 91st, you can see the next point. In the 91st amendment, you can see that there is a little changes has been made in this regarding the merger, and it extended, it increased the strength of the merger. So now the 91st amendment, the 91st constitutional amendment, which was amended in 2003 to the 1985 Act, it said that not just 1/3, it required 2/3, 2/3 if the group of the people, if the group of MP or MLAs, if they are merging, it should be 2/3 of the member, 2/3 of elected members of party must be favoring of merger. Then only it will be considered as a merger to another party. That was considered in the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act. But the thing is that this amendment does not recognize, the splits. The split is also another different concept that I will explain in a different manner. Not to mention, does not deals with splits. Merger is only talked about, split is not talked about. So the questions can be, instead of using the merger word, the question statement may use the split word. So here you please study under negative study approach. This is part of the negative study. You know the negative study is also important. So negative studies, this particular Anti-Defection law or the Constitutional Amendment Act of 91st did not mention about splits. Please remember that it only talked about this merger of the one party to another party. Then what is splits? Again, we will go back to the animations here. Go back to the animation here. The merger is one party merging together with another party is a merger. But in the case of splitting is the red party shifted into two, party C and party B. So the red party, which was earlier there, together you can see that red party was there. If it is a shifting, if it is a splitting, it will be shifting to two party. You understood the split is means that one particular party shifting to form two new party. So the Anti-Defection law, the 10th schedule, did not talk about splits. So that kind of question not talked about. Remember this fact. So question statement may come like, or they will use, instead of merger, the question statement may use the splits. Okay. Now move on to the next slides. The ground of the disqualification. What are the grounds? Now we understood that if a member, if an elected member, if they shift one party to another party, will be disqualified to become a member of that particular houses under the 10th schedule or Anti-Defection. Now the law also deals with and also mention some of the provisions, some of the grounds of the disqualification. In what matter a member can be disqualified under this particular law. You can see the first statement, first option, that is if an elected member voluntarily give his or her membership of a political party. That means I'm representing from BJP and I'm voluntarily giving up. I don't want to join BJP, I'm leaving BJP party. So in that case also the ground of disqualification will be applied and I will be disqualified to follow or to become a member in that particular house if I decide to give up the membership of that particular party. That means many of you maybe already have a membership with any political party, or if you are elected in any houses of the state legislative assembly or the parliament, and you have to be followed the party membership rules and etc. And if you voluntarily give, that means not by a force, if you voluntarily give up a membership of political party, then you are disqualified. That is the first ground. Then the second ground is also there. The second ground that a person can be disqualified is if he or she vote or abstain from voting in such a contrary to any direction issued by his or her political party or anyone authorized to do so without obtaining a prior permission. And your party is told that, for example, the upcoming election is presidential election. For example, you can think that presidential election is coming and your party told that you have to vote for this person, such like things that if there is a case like that, or for example, if there is a bill is passing, for example, if a bill is passing and you are belong to that particular party and the party leader or the responsible authorized person telling that you have to vote for that bill, but you are not voting or abstaining from that voting will be considered as a disqualification if you do not follow the direction, the issues already provided by the political party without obtaining prior permission in that context. This can also be a disqualification grounds. You will be disqualified to become a member in that particular house. That is one matter. Able to understand? Am I clear? Like this one, are you able to understand these facts? So the person can be disqualified if he abstain vote, if you are not voting according to the direction or the issued by the political party. That is second And the third one, that we have understood that within the house there are independent members also there. Like when election was there, when there is an election, you might have seen that independent party, like Swadandra party, Swadandra candidates. So in like this way, you have seen in the many elections, they called us independently elected. They are not representing any political party. They are independently contesting election, and if they are also elected by representing independently, they are, we call just independent elected members. So if a member is independently elected, not by any political party, then he think that before I am not a belong to any party, I am not belong to any political party, I don't have any membership. But after election, he thinks that, okay, now I become an MP, I should join with the BJP. If any independent member think that I should join with any political party, then he will be disqualified to follow or disqualified to become a member. So this is another ground when any person elected by independently and he think to join any political party, after that will be disqualified to become a member of that particular house, either MP or MLA. Remember, understood? When any person independently elected and after electing and becoming a member of the house, if he think that to join any political party, that can also be a disqualification ground, can be considered under the anti-defection law. That means an independent member cannot join any political party if he want to become a member. If anybody want to continue as a member of the house, then if it is an independent member, they cannot join any political party. Remember that. Another grounds, this is the last ground of disqualification, is that if any nominated member joins any political party after the expiry of the 6 months. For example, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, for example, we can imagine Mahendra Singh Dhoni, MSD, was like representing and added to the Rajya Sabha, and he as a nominated to the Rajya Sabha. Imagine that MSD, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, nominated to Rajya Sabha because of his performance and excellence in the cricket, and he was a captain of India and World Cup. He has given with his skills and efficiency, got supported, and India got the World Cup also, like that. So if you imagine that Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and elected as a nominated member to the Rajya Sabha, there is a provision that Mahendra Singh Dhoni can join any party within the 6 months. When he elected, he has the 6 month duration. He can decide which party he can join. But the thing is that he cannot join any political party after 6 months. That means if he did not decide to join any party, he cannot think of joining any other party after the expiry of 6 months. Similar cases also you can imagine if Sunil Chetri think of becoming like nominated members to Rajya Sabha, and if he want to, and he elected by a nominated member in the house, and if he think to join political party, within the 6 months, the nominated member, either the Dhoni or any other person, can join the political party, but they cannot join after the expiry of the 6 months. If they join after the 6 months, they will be disqualified under the grounds which is part of the anti-defection law.